Hi, and thank you all for joining us today. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm truly grateful and blessed for each and every one of you. And today I'm very excited because I think this topic is very important for all of us. And I'm going to first let you know a little bit about our guest. His name is Fred Gingras. I probably am pronouncing that incorrectly, but he'll straighten that out when he appears in a second. He is a proud father of four, a great worker, and the host of Libercast, which is a bilingual French and English podcast about truth, morality, and shadow work, and freedom and parenting. It's also an open podcast, and many guests have shared their stories, knowledge, and opinions about an array of subjects. You can find Libercast on YouTube, Facebook, and Odyssey. And of course, I will have all the links to where you can discover Fred and his work inside the description of this video on all social media platforms. And again, welcome to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled, where you can discover your truth, hopefully. And today we're broadcasting live. Well, actually, it's not live. I take that back. On Friday, I have my recorded show. And on Thursday, I have live shows at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The recorded shows are for folks that can't make it, whether they're in Europe or elsewhere on the globe. And I always like to offer them another opportunity to be able to interview them. And that's when I air that on Friday. So again, you are watching us on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, which is 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. And of course, please be sure to leave any comments, questions in the description of this video, and we will be sure and answer them for you. And of course, while you're here, hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. It means the world to me when you do. So welcome, everyone. And today we're having a truly insightful conversation. We're honored to have Fred Gingras with us. He's a guiding voice in the realm of spiritual growth and self-discovery. Our topic today is Awakening the Hidden Self, the Power of Shadow Work. And it promises to be a deep dive into the parts of ourself that we often keep concealed, and how bringing them into light can profoundly transform our spiritual growth. At its core, shadow work is a psychological concept, and it was popularized by Carl Jung, and it refers to a process of exploring and integrating the shadow self. This shadow isn't necessarily evil, because a lot of people think it is, but it's not. But rather it comprises the unconscious aspects of our personality that we tend to repress, deny, or hide. And often because they conflict with our conscious self-image or social expectations, we tend to think of them as being dark, but they're not. And they can include repressed emotions, fears, desires, perceived flaws, and even undeveloped positive traits. So when we talk about shadow work in the spiritual realm, it takes on a much deeper meaning, a more holistic dimension. It's not just about psychological healing, but it's about how this inner work impacts our connection to our higher self, our sense of purpose, and our overall spiritual journey. So I'm going, with that said, bring Fred. Hi, Fred. So nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, we're excited to be able to talk to you. So tell us some more about yourself, about your work, your journey, your experience. I'm going to step aside for a minute and let you have the stage while you tell folks where they can find you, what your work has been like, maybe your personal life, whatever you want to share, okay?
No problem. Thank you. So my name is Fred Gingras. I'm a French-Canadian who resides in Quebec. And I have a family of four. They're all beautiful, joyful children. And I have a wife. I happened to start 3 years ago the Libercast, and I wanted to bring up more of spirituality and morality and natural law through my work. And it happens that I was able to talk both French and English. So I wanted to share and grow through this experience. And these 3 years has been very uh, um, positive, and I'm growing from it. And I happen to include shadow working in everything I do, and we're gonna have the chance of talking about that. So you can join me directly on Facebook. My name is just right there, Fred Gingras. You contact me right through there. We can have a talk. It's open, and if you have sensible information that comes from in the occult or natural law or morality or any holistic, I invite people to join me, and it's an open podcast, so everyone is welcome. So YouTube, Odyssey, and Facebook, and there's many more, but I'm not regularly updating them, so I send people directly in to Odyssey.
Awesome. Well, I really butchered your last name. How do I pronounce that again?
Gingras. It's French.
Jenga. Oh, French. I figured I
Yes,
butchered it, but my apologies.
it's okay.
So obviously you're located in France, right?
No, I'm a French Canadian.
Oh, so you're in Canada.
Yes.
That's awesome, because the manager of this network and many other hosts on this network are all from Canada. So that's pretty cool. Awesome. I love Canada. It's a great place.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about shadow work because every human, I believe, and I gave kind of a summary of the definition of it, but we're going to take a deep dive into it, because a lot of people hear the terminology and they think it's evil. It has to do with evil and negativity, and it doesn't.
Sure.
It's quite the opposite.
Sure.
So, I mean, I've been doing shadow work on myself for decades. I mean, it's kind of like if you agree, like a never-ending process, really. Tell us, right? Tell us, like, your interpretation of what shadow work is, what you do in your own personal life to accomplish that goal.
So shadow working is another term for deep introspection and psychological healing, or alchemy, psychological alchemy. You're trying to work on these dark corners of your mind and the repressed, like you mentioned, and your reaction that you had when you were younger to external stimuli. So every aspect of your life, when it's not agreeable, when it's bad, then your brain is going to send it back to protect you, let's say. So you have some conscious things are like in there. And first of all, shadow working is a huge step for people who are living in lies and deceptions. We have to get our courage and having courage and to accept that we were wrong, that we live into lie, that we believe in lies about ourselves, about the world, because of cultural biases or intergenerational mind control. So you take back your power. The first thing that you have to do, and I did it for myself, this is my experience there. I'm talking only for myself because it's my experience.
Sure.
I stopped lying to myself about who I was, about the people who surrounded me, my job, everything. What I was doing with my life, how I was treating myself. So I had to stop, and then I had to confront myself. because you have this voice inside your head. For the people who are, they know, the people who want shadow work, you know, you have this voice inside of you, this ego driven voice.
Mm-hmm.
These things will try to prevent you from moving forward with shadow working. You will not be, you're not gonna be, you're not gonna feel that you're worth doing the shadow work. Your brain is gonna try to convince you that it's okay to be this way, sad and depressed, and always try to thrive on validation that comes from other people.
That's a good point.
This is a torturous, painful work. This is the work. This is part of what I call the great work. You absolutely have to go through this way. In order to make change, change has to come from here.
Mm-hmm.
Intentions are meaningless. Actions, courage, sacrifice. This is what shadow work is. Are you ready to dive into this darkness? Are you ready to change? Are you ready to compromise for the betterment of yourself and your family and the people you have around you? Because there's no separation there. This is the principle of correspondence. There's no separation from other people. So if you treat yourself with no respect, no self-love, no self-esteem, no courage, then you're not going to be able to give that to other people.
So
you
true.
cannot give something that you don't have for yourself. So not because I want to be a negative, but if we want freedom, if people say they really want freedom, then they must free themselves first from the shackles of cultural indoctrination.
Mm.
And it begins in the younger age. It begins home. This is where it's starting. If our parents were perfect people, we wouldn't need shadow working, because there's no negligence, there's no violence there. If the family is perfect, let's imagine in our head that perfect, then shadow work is not necessary. But we're not in that. We're not living into a unicorn, rainbow world around us. Pain is everywhere. And we are, every time, there's no separation. I mentioned it, no separation between us and them, our brothers and sisters. So shadow working is when you say it's enough. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of suffering. I'm tired to pretend to be someone I'm not. And playing this game into society and the role that you give yourself in society, that it's never being you. You're not this persona. This persona is called super ego. We don't have the time to go in that. But what I mean is, you sit and you look yourself in the mirror, and then you're exposing yourself to all the dark corners, all the things that you didn't want to look into because you were scared. And it's legitimate. I've been through shadow work for many years. It's not easy. Nobody said it was easy. It's going to be the hardest work ever, and that in parenting.
Yes.
But it's something
Yes.
else completely. Okay, so for me, I wanted to be a better human.
Mm.
I wanted to be an example for the kids that we both brought up into the world. If I don't like myself, if I don't love myself, I wouldn't do children. I wouldn't have 4 children.
Correct.
I love myself. I respect myself. It's not perfect, never. It's never gonna be perfect. But I can look myself in the mirror and confront myself. And how do you do that? How do you do shadow working? First of all, you start from the basics. Okay, so you decide to stop lying to yourself, stop lying to the others, and about the world you're living in, the experience, and then you educate yourself about human behaviors. And one thing that it's very easy, everybody has access to it, is natural law.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple, it's beautiful, and everybody can contemplate to it. So natural laws are basic underlying laws of the invisible in the universe and the consequences of behavior. So macrocosm, microcosm, it's the same. It's the scale is it's not the same, but it's it's for everyone on earth. It's works the same flawlessly. So you learn what you cannot do. You learn what you cannot do, so you don't do it. And it's very simple. So I was talking about violence. So the most insidious form of violence is the one that you're doing to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I, I let me tell you something. I know what I'm talking about. I'm tattooed everywhere. I in my head at this time, I didn't know that. You know, I didn't found this way, so I've suffered. This is how I was dealing with my problems. I was inflicting myself pain, and this is what we're doing. This is tattoo artists, but it's not the same thing. It can be something else. Diet, bad habits, you know, and it's these little things that are important.
Yeah.
First of all, I just want to say I don't want to over talk over
No,
you.
no, no.
Uh,
It's fine.
the only power, at my opinion, freedom, the true freedom is how you react to what happening to you,
Right.
because you don't have any power out in the outside world. So how do you gonna react to external stimuli, whatever it is? It doesn't matter. How do you react to it? So some people completely neurotic, they're gonna explode emotionally, crumbling. They're gonna become violent or depressed. Some people will not react at all. Some people, they don't respond to that. But we don't have time to talk about these people. How the power of free will resides into your reaction. So we have to take back our mind, our heart, and our emotion and our spiritual life. And it's not easy,
Mm.
because we start from nothing. Most of us, we're starting in the negative.
Yeah.
This is how it's bad, you know. I was a Satanist, you know. I was an ideological Satanist, like most people before I stumbled upon Mark Passio's work. And this guy slapped me around metaphorically. I was confronted to myself, and this is how I was influenced to do the great work and doing the shadow work.
What was his name again?
Mark Passio,
B A.
awesome researcher.
How do you spell that? BASSO?
Yes.
Just in case folks want to check it out.
Yeah. What on earth is happening.com. I'll send it to you afterward.
Yeah. I think
so I suggest everyone to go to, this guy is an incredible content creator, researcher, the occultist. He went in through things, and I went through it, you know, and I cannot have too much gratitude for this man and what he did for the people he got back, you know, from this self-loathing mindset, you know, scarcity mind control. You know, it's incredible. This is a deep rabbit hole that we're diving in, and the only way to free ourselves from mind control, it's knowing about mind control. What is mind control? How insidious, how various the appearances and the way and the technical aspect of it. But essentially, it's very easy. It's repetition. You repeat and you repeat and you repeat. And this is how propaganda works. This is how mind control works. If you repeat a lie 1,000 times, it becomes a truth. So what we did with shadow work and spirituality, we took something sacred, we took something that we have to have that. No, it's not like it's an option. We must. And we obfuscated, bloated with misinformation, with useless doctrines that leads people nowhere.
Right.
We have many examples of that. I'm not going to name them because I don't want to point fingers today. But there's a lot of people who are subscribing to these soft, cowardly cult and doctrines into the new age. Okay, I don't want to get into that. But get back to shadow working. Shadow working, it's the only way. We cannot achieve freedom for everyone what we have the idea of freedom, because freedom doesn't exist. Freedom is an idea.
Yes.
This is what spirituality is about. It's about freedom. It's always been about freedom. Psychological freedom, emotional freedom, spiritual freedom. Whatever the appearance that you gave to it, the gurus and the followers. Spiritual is about individual research, deep introspection. Because if you don't have these informations, you're not going to be able to put it in your behaviors, and then it becomes actions. So you have knowledge, you have understanding, you have all these things. It's the trivium way of learning. You know, it's very simple. You know, you have to acquire certain knowledge in order to have certain understanding, and afterward you have wisdom. After that, you have action.
Right.
Action is when you start doing something.
Exactly.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you about, there's so much into this that
Yes.
hopefully we can get to, but you mentioned something before about our reaction to things.
Yes.
And I immediately thought of our triggers, like what triggers us. So a lot of the triggers that we have, we think come from external sources. So, like, say, for instance, if you're driving in a car and somebody cuts you off, and that makes you have road rage and you get out and start screaming. And a lot of people, in that situation would think that, oh, it was that guy's fault. He triggered me, he cut me off. But I think doing this shadow work would show you that it's not really that other person, it comes from you. So something deep inside of you triggered that reaction that you have. And
Yes.
that holds true for anything, an argument with a person. I mean, it could be anything. So how do you think, and how did you come to be able to work on that within yourself so that the things that triggered you every day were less and less important?
First of all, my shadow work, in my opinion, in my experience, has been I had to accept what I couldn't change.
Right.
This is acceptance. There's things that makes me very angry. Some things are make me sad, and it's normal and it's okay to feel these emotions, and not repressing it. Sometimes we're gonna be confronted to terrible things, in our lives, and we're making bad decisions and things like that. So life is daunting
Yeah.
for someone who cannot see, if I
Yeah.
can use this expression. So how do I make that? I decided to feel every ounces of these emotions. It's like you want to be resistant to poison, then you have to expose yourself to it.
Mm.
And it's kind of my thing there. So this is taking back, I mentioned earlier, taking back your power.
Mm-hmm.
So you and me and everyone, we should all do this work for a reason, and I'm gonna explain it to you. Because if we don't do that, then it's gonna be impossible to build up this utopia that we want to have.
Yeah.
We cannot build this beautiful relationship with other people if we don't do that. How do you react to external stimuli and bad things and good things? It's going to be relative to everyone. Today I was letting myself taken by anger.
Mm.
In the 4-5 years before today, I let myself go through anger
Mm.
and pain and sadness, deep sadness. And we do not resist this. It's not about resisting it or rejecting it. It's taking it in, welcoming. You cannot do something happens to you. Yes, you're angry. Yes,
Mm.
it makes you sad. Yes, it gives you joy. But afterward, you don't keep these emotions for yourself. You let them go. Anger, you feel anger, something happened, it's bad thing, you're angry, you live your anger, and then you let it go. Because emotions, when they're repressed inside, it's a acidic, vitriolic thing in your body. if you keep them inside and you nourish your soul with negative, useless emotions that you keep in yourself for whatever reason. So something happens to me, I have to take in what it is. It happens now, how I deal with it. And this is what I achieved during these years. I'm maybe into 10 or 11 years of shadow working. Now I can auto introspect during conversation. I can go back and looking at myself from an observer point of view, and
Yeah.
how did I react?
Right.
You had this conversation, it went bad or it was good, then doesn't matter what the issue is. You go back, you sit, and how did I react? How did I respond? What
So
was the
you do like self-analysis, right? So
Sure.
you sit and you ask yourself, like, why did I react that way? What pushed my buttons?
Yeah.
And you kind of question your own behavior at that point, right?
Absolutely. And I can, right now, as we talk for a few years now, I can do it during the conversation.
Yeah.
I study how the nonverbal communication. This is one of a part there. Empathy. You
Yeah.
don't have that, you cannot do shadow working.
That's right.
Because you have to have empathy for you and understanding about what you live and what your reaction and what happened to you in the past. If you don't have that, you cannot grow
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's so true.
Yes. So I have a conversation, I'm saying something, there's a reaction from the other person, and then I can introspect how they react to this. So how did I say it? Was it necessary? Was it the good way to approach it? It's the same thing with children. It's a very good example. Shadow work, you have to do it. If you have children, you must have this work already in the doing, because we're creating violence by omitting to teach spirituality to our children,
Oh yeah.
teaching them morality, teaching them natural law, and how the laws of the consequence of the behavior works. In order to being able to partake into society and having friends and having family, you have to know what's the difference between right and wrong, good and evil. These are basic, fundamental understanding. Most people, and I'm going to generalize, most people don't know this. They're whether they ignore it or whether they don't know. They just don't know. It doesn't
Right.
happen right there. Everybody who looks, they have two neurons who can, freak together. They can see what the difference between violence and good. It's because this is an all other subject. So what is the difference? How do you know that you're making violence to yourself? It's easy. Are you suffering from your own behavior? Are you inflicting yourself suffering? Are you lying to yourself? Lying is evil.
Yes, it is.
So if you're lying to yourself, you're lying to your children, you're lying to your family, you're a bad person. It's simple as that.
A lot of times, though, it's not intentional. So I
Sure.
guess that's a part of shadow work in and of itself. We
Yeah.
don't intend to do these things, but because we're damaged humans, we do it in order, I think, to protect ourselves. So many people encounter the concept of shadow through psychology. So they would go see a therapist or, have that type of medical treatment. So how do you think shadow works, like your approach, integrates or differs from a purely psychological perspective, especially that we're talking about spiritual implications?
Yes.
So to simplify that question, do you think that if someone goes to psychological training to see a doctor, say, is that the same as shadow work? Can a person benefit or take first steps?
If you come from the occult and spirituality, it's going to be different from the psychological, rigid, cold system that is in place right now. About when we're talking about science, so the occult is the science. Actually, they're trying to bring them back together. Actually,
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. So you have the spiritual aspect, and let me tell you, nobody can, and even less a psychologist, it's gonna bring you to shadow working. Ever. It's not gonna happen. Why? Because it's more for the cash to
It is.
take
It is. And
SSRIs.
they want to keep you locked in for years.
Exactly.
Right.
You become a client at this point.
Right.
Spirituality, we, like me, like others, Mark Passios, and all these magi, we're getting all this back to you. It's your responsibility. This is self-responsibilization. This is taking back the responsibility that you gave to another one.
Yeah.
Wrongfully. And you cannot do that. You cannot give your responsibility to anyone. It's impossible. So this is where you have the psychologist, or he's gonna write on some piece of paper and say, But spiritual people and teachers like me, we're gonna say, okay, you have the key in your hand. It's simple. You already have it. Do you want to open the door? Are you ready to take the big boy pants? Are you ready to stop being so selfish about yourself, about the others, about the world around you, your biases, your poison worldview? Are you ready to take the truth? Because truth, when you live into lies, is a destructive thing. It destroys lies. So I'm not telling to people, believe me. Every time, almost at every episode of the Libercast, I'm telling people, don't believe me. Do it yourself. Start doing the work.
Yeah.
I don't want people to believe me. I'm not a guru. I'm an average Joe. I'm a father. I work into community. I try to help as much as I can. And this is how I do my shadow work. This is how I do my great work. I have to compromise. I have to sacrifice a little bit of other time somewhere.
Yeah.
In order to uplift myself, and then at the same time of uplifting my children and my wife. And we have to live by example. I'm there today, 3 years later. I'm there because I stood on the shoulders of the giants. I never met these people in person, but they changed my life forever. They gave me back my power. And you know why I took back this power? Because of me.
Right.
Not because of them. I
Right.
took the knowledge, I understood it, and then I put it in my behaviors, and then they became actions.
Right.
It's always about yourself. Or you stop being a coward and a lazy and move. Because if you don't move, people will move you.
Oh,
There's some
yeah,
people waiting for you to not doing
absolutely.
anything.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's like a good analogy is like, and we've all heard it, when you're on an airplane and the oxygen mask drops, you have to put it on yourself first before you can help anybody else. And I think that, um, that's a good analogy for shadow work too, because, in order to be a good father, husband, community leader, you have to work on your, so what are the first steps? If somebody, now after listening to us for a little bit and your advice, what would the first steps be to someone who has no clue how to get started? They want to do shadow work, they want to heal their inner self. What would your advice be? What's the very first thing they should do? Oh, I can't hear you.
I mentioned it earlier, and this is the first thing that you have to stop lying to yourself.
Okay, so that's step number
That's
one.
the step number one. And then you have to confront yourself. This is not in books. You cannot find this in books because you are the book.
Mm,
So you have to take the time. You have to make time for it.
right.
You have to isolate yourself and meditate and take in knowledge about the self. Knowledge about yourself, self-studying, but studying of how we behave. What are natural law? What is morality? What is the difference between violence and force? These are basic understanding. This is where we start. Do you have this foundation? In order to build a house, okay, or temple, you have to lay foundations. If your foundations are sand,
True.
it's not gonna hold. You're gonna work so hard, and then someday something that's gonna happen, and you're gonna bust a nut.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose it. So we have to go back to our roots. How do you treat yourself? This is very simple. You sit down, and then you talk to yourself, and you think, and you expose yourself to every bad, every dangerous behaviors that you do unto yourself and unto other people, and do not look away from it.
Yeah.
Yes, you're gonna feel very bad about it, and the one things, and I'm gonna take back from Mark Passio, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you were wrong about it. You
Mm,
were wrong all the way. It's okay to be human.
yeah.
It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not being perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody is. And
I,
you
I
have
think
to
journaling,
accept this.
yes,
Yeah.
you have to accept, that's so true, and that's a lot of the resistance, I think, is that we
Yes.
don't want to accept the truth about ourselves. I also think journaling might be good
Yes.
for some folks too. So sit down and start to like document what you think, like you said before, when you're looking in that mirror, what are you seeing? Like document it, and then you can visit it every day and kind of work on that. What do you think drove you mentioned before that you were driven to satanic practices?
Hmm.
What do you think drove you there? Do you think it was your inner pain? Were you looking for some type of family unity in these
Hmm.
people? Like what compelled you to, because it's so prevalent. There's so
Yeah.
many people that are into Satanism and
Yeah.
doing all this demonic stuff. We see it in in music, on TV. It's like everywhere.
Yeah.
So what brought you to that?
First of all, I wasn't a from any churches of Satanism. I was an ideological Satanist. So I was espousing the ideologies of, and why did I was agreeing with the Satanist tenets. It's because of my, I was not able to understand all the suffering, all the war, all the mistreatment that we were doing to ourselves as a family.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand it. And this is why I began to be a misanthrope. And hating people for what they were doing to themselves and other people, children, elderly people, people who are collateral damage from war. This is all horrifying, disgusting behaviors. This is all, but it's not civility. This is not what we're not this is not about evolution. This is involution.
Yeah.
And I could see it from my younger age. I was confronting with things. Everybody was confronted with traumas, and you didn't. You were a witness. You were witnessing something that you did not understand, and afterward, then it comes back to you.
Yeah.
You know. And when I was this way, I didn't care. I didn't care about the well-being of other people. All I was seeing is suffering and relativism, moral relativism. I was looking at society, and everybody's doing their own morality. Everybody's is pretend to know what right and wrong is. I was so wrong about it. I was so wrong about it, and Mark Passio did the job. Mark Passio was a Satanist, and I connected with him. I connected with this work. I went through all this work, and I'm telling you, people, when you encounter this kind of information, crucial information, it changes you. It changes yourself and change the things around you. The world is changing around you because you're not a victim anymore. You're
Right.
a builder.
That's key
You're
right
a
there.
creator. You become a creator, and you stop wasting your precious attention on meaningless garbage.
Yeah.
It's simple as that. Your attention, where is your attention is going? What do you care about? This is one of the questions that I keep coming back when I'm talking about shadow work. How much do you care about yourself and about the world around you and the children and the elderly people and all the poverty and war? How much do you care? And this is, let's say, people put it on 1 to 10 into a little test there. I'm telling you, sister, it would be bad. We would be devastated with the state of the state of mind of people.
Yeah, it's not good.
So, in order to achieve equilibrium, this is all about equilibrium. This is what cause and effect is. This is natural law. So you're interested in that. You want to know, then you have to go and look into natural law. Look for morality. What is morality? Not theological morality. I'm not talking about religion there. I'm talking about foundational, natural behavior.
Yeah.
This is cause and effect. Everything that's inside go outside, and everything is outside going inside. So if the culture is broken and it's encouraging mental illness and fakeness and full love, then you're gonna live into the plasma of all these people. They're miserable. They hate their lives. everything is too hard. They're victims all the time. You can see this pattern everywhere now. Everyone is a victim. I'm more a victim than you now. It's crazy. This is
It is.
madness.
It really is. They wear their victimage like a badge of honor, and it's
Yeah,
it's so prevalent in the youth, sadly to say.
yeah,
So we're fragmented beings, right?
yes,
And through shadow work, we hope to obtain, I guess, a type of wholeness, right?
yes,
So, in a spiritual sense, the goal of shadow work is to move towards this sense of wholeness, right?
yes.
So the idea, I guess, is that you cannot truly ascend or connect with your higher spiritual truths unless parts of you that are living in the shadows remain unacknowledged and unloved, right?
So
Um,
I
go ahead.
I just want to say, shadow working is not about getting rid of what is bad. It
Right,
never was. It was never about that. This is where people are getting mixed. Okay, so you have shadows into yourself. We're calling them shadows, but it can be drawers with all the bad things, the traumas, and the
right.
overexcitation and the abuse and the violence. They can go all there. So you open the drawer and then you look inside, and then you have to contemplate on what it is, how it has happened, and what I can do to take my hand and making amend with it. It's about making peace with ingrained aspect of yourself, of oneself. This is not about getting rid of it, getting rid of your demon. Let's say demons or shadows. It's about you confronting them, you let yourself live, feel what it was, and then you're making peace with it. You're making amend with it. And and people will be maybe disagreeing with that, but I would say that every of these things, you're getting back something that you lost when
Right.
you deeply made the fight, and you did the shadow work. You're taking back something that something or someone has taken from you. So you go in the corners, you contemplate over it, you let yourself feed it, you accept it, and then you live with it. You are taking it with you. It's not going this way, I'm going this way. We're all going together.
Mm,
It's peace. It's reconciliation
yeah.
with
Yeah.
yourself. It's not about getting rid of them. It's
Right.
impossible.
So it's like integrating them, and so you
Yeah,
become whole, right? Do you think
integration.
do you think that forgiveness, because I see a lot of
Mm,
people in my personal life and people I talk to every day, they struggle with forgiving not only themselves but others for the hurt. So hypothetically, say your parents, wounded you as a child,
yes.
whether it was verbal or physical, whatever, and they're on the outs with them. They don't want to talk to them. They don't want to forgive them. So that's part of your shadow that you're refusing to heal and acknowledge. So for you, like, where did forgiveness come in? Where did you forgive yourself and forgive others during your journey?
This is what I call acceptance. So um, there's things that happen that, there's people who have did bad things to you. They will never ask for forgiveness.
Mm,
Never. Whatever how bad it was. There are some people who cannot chronically do it. So this is where it's not good. Okay, this is where suffering and pain come into shadow working. This is the phase of acceptance. It happened, it is, you know it's not going to happen from these people, or what happened in the past. There's some things that cannot be arranged in the future. So it's what I told people earlier: free will. How do you choose to react to what is happening to you? Are you gonna take it inside and keep it and keep struggling with it and fighting against it? And you know what? You're fighting against yourself. This part is part of you forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
So true.
How much do you care? How much do you care about your well-being? And how much do you care about the relationship you have with others? Because there's no separation there. If you're always filled with anger and hate and things about people that mess up your world, they scramble your world for a moment, you become a slave.
Yeah.
And you have the choice. This is all in your hand, not necessarily you, Carolyn, but the people will listen to. The shackles, they're all loose. You can take them off whenever you want to.
Yeah.
The way I say it is like you have a backpack full of bricks there, and then you have the choice of putting one down from time to time, and it's become less and less heavy with the time. Is it gonna be perfect? No. Is it gonna be done in 1 week, in 20 years? Probably not. For the people all who are into shadow working, we know it's a lifetime commitment.
Right.
We become perfect, never. But we have to look in the good way too. How liberating when you are leaving one of these bricks down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What kind of resistance did you put up when you first started doing your shadow work? Like, what was your biggest battle that you had to face and finally conquered? What was that like?
It happens 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5. I happened to during my shadow work and opening a drawer. This is how I call them. I opened this drawer and it hurts so bad, sister.
Yeah.
I could feel everything.
Mm.
The smell, the taste, the feeling. I went through it once again, and this is where this is what we want, a shadow worker. We want to open this drawer, look inside it, and it hurts so bad, sister.
Oh, yeah.
I had for 3 or a month, 3 weeks or a month, being I had not much energy. I was kind of depressed, but not depressed. It was so bad, sister. And you know what kept me on the path? My family.
Yes.
This is the power of creation, people. When you're getting back your powers like that, you're not gonna destroy anymore. You're gonna create. And this is how how you purging. For me, for my own experience, creation was the key. I had to create something. I have so much love for myself when it happened. I had so much empathy. I had so much good vibes that I had to have these extensions, these children of myself. I before I didn't want to have children at all, but I have 4 now. So I'm telling you, people, how strong and how powerful and self-empowering that shadow work is, because you're not selfish anymore. I'm not saying that people that you're not gonna be an egoless let's
Right.
say,
Right.
but the selfishness is gone. You're when you have a family, your children are going first.
Oh yeah.
But you don't, and yes, you're doing first, but if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't take care of your temple, how much do you can you uh, uh, take care of your children if you don't do the work, if you're not giving the example, being moral and telling them why it's wrong, why it's right. And you have to, every time I have this conversation with myself and I stand down and I'm looking and then contemplating and then asking myself, how can I go out of this
Yeah.
without fleeing from it, running from it? How can I make peace with this part of myself? And is it necessary that I felt that bad? Is it necessary? Is it constructive in the sense that I don't have the luxury to lash out on my children about my own shadow working, so you're having the emotions, you felt them. I talked to my wife at this time. I'm having a hard time right now, and I did my best, but love and care and attention and empathy is a solution. If you don't have anyone around you, there's people you can actually get to. They're everywhere. There's shadow workers everywhere now.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're alone and you don't have family, then you are not alone. You were never alone. It's not a coincidence that people are getting more into shadow working and spirituality,
Oh yeah.
because the substitute parents, it's not working anymore. You have religion, you have government. There are substitute parents because your parents they did negligence onto you and violence onto you. Then the only person you had to blame to, it's yourself. So your parents were negligent, violent, immoral people, and you have to make peace with this part of yourself.
Yeah.
If they're
Absolutely.
living, you don't have to ask them for forgiveness. You're doing the work. You're doing the work for yourself.
Right. I think that's an important distinction too. So you don't need forgiveness from the people that hurt you. You need to forgive them for your own spiritual growth and healing. That's
Yes,
like really important to do.
if you're able, because some people will be able to have a genuine forgiveness, and
Right.
genuine forgiveness, I'm going to use a term from Mark Passio, is you're getting to the people and you're telling them what wrong they did,
Ah,
and then the hand gesture, and don't do that again. And the people will acknowledge, the person will acknowledge that their behavior was bad, and I'm sorry.
yeah.
And this is how true forgiveness is functioning. But you
Yeah.
have narcissists and you
Oh,
have a sociopathic individuals outside, and they don't care about that at all. So I mean, some people will do evil to you or to me or my children, and there's nothing we can do about it.
yeah.
What I mean it's not physically we can, but the emotional abuse and psychological abuse and things like that, there's some part there, the forgiveness, it's not going to be complete ever. This is
Right.
why you have to do it for yourself and
Absolutely.
letting things go.
Yeah. Do you
Yes.
notice, or have you noticed either in yourself or in others that have done shadow work? Have you noticed like an increased belief in a higher power, whether it was God, Buddha, whoever it is that they look to? Is once you get into shadow work,
Yes.
does that become more prevalent? Like, is it, or do the two things have nothing to do with each other?
Well, I think it can be both scenarios. I mean, on my side, I am not a Christian. I'm not in any religion. I'm not a Buddhist or something like that.
Mm,
I'm a deoccultist. I'm a uh, if you want to put me in a category ideologically, I would be more close to animism than everything else. I see the divine in everything.
everything, right?
Yes. So for me, this is not about nature. This is not about God. You know, the shadow work is not about that for me. It's about myself. It's a very selfish thing, shadow work, because you're only doing it for yourself.
Yeah, I think it has to.
Yeah. So is it people? I think people who are getting really, if they don't come from the materialist
Yeah.
side of science, they're gonna acknowledge divinity into yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Means that there's no difference between the plants, the animals, the brothers and sisters, and the rock and the water. We
Yeah.
are all come from the same
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. Everything has a life force. Everything. Yeah.
So,
I agree with that.
animism is not perfect. It's not a I don't agree with everything in animism, but it's very close to how I see things. And I treat people like I would like to be treating.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if I want to have respect and empathy and help and compassion and things like that, then I have to treat people and myself first this way. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
I can
Yeah.
be rough on myself. I can be disciplinary. I can talk, having hard talk with myself, but I can have hard talk with people outside of me. Because I'm not tolerating violence and lies anymore. This is what we all should do. Do not tolerate lies.
Yeah.
Lies are insidious, dangerous violation of your rights.
Yeah. True. Do you think that there's demonic forces that influence people when they're trying to do shadow work, when they're trying to be more spiritually grounded?
Mhm.
Do you believe in demonic forces to begin with? And how do you think they can impact you when you're doing shadow work?
Um, I don't know. I don't know about that. I went through the rabbit hole and UFOs and
Oh,
interdimensional creatures and species and things like that. But I tend to stay on the ground. It's not because it's not important to me, but I think evil is cultural in basis. I think I think evil comes from only one thing: ignorance.
mm,
So there always been people with bad intentions, bad dark desires, and agendas and things like that. This is how we grew as humans. There's always been conflict. There's always been slavery. I don't know if there's hasn't be slavery and violence in government before. No, I wasn't there. You know, but I know that we cannot remember this. So evil it's a behavior. It's ignorance is the absence of will. This is it's it, power hungry people.
mm,
So are they possessed by entities or things like that? I don't know. But Satanism is an ideology of domination. They want to be God. This is the egoism. This is the religion of the ego. Evil is always shown in history and in the books and the stories. They
Hmm.
always put a human like appearance. They try to give a visual human aspect to
Yeah.
behaviors and
Right.
ideologies. So this is how we're doing things. Is it because we're influenced by other people? Most definitely. There's some people who are actually working 24 hours, 365 days a year to you, for you to not looking inside, for you to not doing the work. They're gonna try to entertain you.
Yeah.
They will try to push you away as much as you can from your spiritual being, because
Right.
what I mentioned earlier, spirituality is freedom. This is the search of freedom. They don't want that to happen.
Right.
They're gonna try to bring you everywhere but where you need to be.
Mm.
This is why so much stuff on the internet. The internet is a beautiful tool. It's incredible things that happen, and it opens the door for many incredible miracle of
Hmm.
technology. But this is a disgusting, filled with hate, filled with
Yeah.
misinformation, and highly controlling entertainment there. There's so many lies into the on the internet right now. It's
Oh, yeah.
very hard to get through the truth
It is. It's
of
very
things.
toxic. It's hard to discern, especially now with AI. You can't even watch a video without questioning if it's real or not.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
Exactly.
it's very difficult for us as humans to be able to discern what's true and what isn't for ourselves. But so you're saying that you think that evil comes from within humans, that
Yes.
you're not sure if it's an external force of whatever, of nature, whatever.
I'm not
Um,
saying it's not.
it's not right. So, well,
I'm
none of
not.
us,
I'm saying just that it's possible, probably.
right. Well, we can manifest things. We're such powerful beings, I think, too, that we have the ability to manifest things externally so they affect other people, through your vibration, your
Yes.
energy, stuff like that. So it's very important for people to protect themselves. And with that said, what do you do to protect your spirit? How do
Hmm.
you ground yourself? Do you meditate? Do you use crystals? Like what is the grounding process, the protection process like for you?
I did not. I'm not psychic. Um. Phenomena
Mm.
happened to me in the beginning. I when you're starting to have your senses, they're hidden, your senses, it's
Yeah.
incredible. Okay, I'm lost for word to explain that. But the first thing I did is I educate myself. This is where my meditation. I came from meditation and isochronic binaural megahertz and things like that, vibrations, to
Mhm.
education.
Mm.
This is where I. This is where my work resides. It's I have to be constantly uh, 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 um, um, how can I say that, stimulated. This is how I do my work. I have to be intellectually, spiritually, and emotionally stimulated. What
Mm.
it means is when I don't have emotions, when I don't need them, I'm not feeling them at all. I become stoic,
Yeah.
kinda. So I don't have these emotions when I don't need them. But these kind of things there, I think there are. This is yourself attacking yourself.
Mm.
Okay, what it means is when you have a super ego, that it's humongous. Okay, when your super ego has the control, has the chain, your super ego, it's gonna try to manipulate you.
Yeah.
It's gonna send you messages. You're gonna hear voices, that's gonna say, oh, don't do that. It doesn't worth the effort. Oh, you're not gonna achieve that. Don't try it. There's always these voices, inside your head. And when you're able to silence that, it's not easy. It's not like you make it one time. It doesn't mean it's not gonna go back. It's not coming back. Okay,
Right.
so this is I mean for myself, I educate myself. This is how I'm stimulating my brain and my with spiritual stuff and psychology, and I'm studying the relationship and behaviors between men and women. I
Mm.
um I'm more into. I concentrate my energy and my care to my family and their education, and then afterward I try to educate myself nonstop.
Yeah. So just reading and researching. And I ask because for folks that don't have families,
Yes.
once you start doing or support network, once you start doing shadow work, you don't want them to get like lost in the darkness of it because it is kind of dark process when you're sitting down and evaluating everything that's wrong with you, every flaw, every lie. So you don't want folks getting lost in that. And there has to be a balance, I think, between the two. So after you did, some in-depth shadow work and you were looking at all this darkness, well, you had your family and your family kind of pulled you into the light, so to speak, right?
Mhm.
But what would folks do that don't have those resources that you have? Would you recommend them meditating,
I
trying
have.
to reach out to people? Like what's the answer there?
Okay, so my answer is creation.
Mm,
You should, not you necessarily, but the people you don't have, people around you and your family and things like that. You don't have children. It's okay. There's a beautiful, simple way to do it. It's creating. You create something.
yeah,
It's a beautiful way to express yourself emotionally and intellectually and spiritually. There's millions of way of doing it. You know, you can paint, you can sculpt, you can burn things and make drawings with burn and with fire. You can mold glass. You can write a book. It's the it's incredible. But
yeah,
creation is the word there. It's the key. Imagination, creation. If you don't have people, if you have a lack of stimulation, it's because of yourself. You're giving yourself some limitation. The It's infinite. The things that you can do, the possibilities are infinite. And I want to tell something, because we're talking about a lot of darkness, but I want to say this because I had to tell it myself one day. Your value is infinite. You are a creator. You are a beautiful being, and nobody will ever take that away from you if you don't let them.
right.
You are a creator, and you are a divine creature.
Mm-hmm.
Means you have something that the universe doesn't have. You know what it is? Free will.
Yeah,
You have the choice of taking it or not taking it.
right.
You have the right of you have the option of choosing. So How much do you care? This is the question. How much do you care about yourself, about the world, and about the people you have around you? If you
Yeah.
don't have people around you to
Yeah.
care, create.
Yeah, that's good
Don't
advice.
care.
I
Yes,
like that. Because everyone has some type of creative ability within them. Everyone does.
yes,
So maybe you can't draw, but there's something creative that you could be doing, to kind of like create that balance. And it's like for me, when I started doing shadow work years ago, like I have two kids, they're grown now, but there were certain aspects of that I didn't want them to get affected by, that I hid. So, because, it's a very private thing when you're going through all of this self analysis. And sometimes you don't want your family to get, brought into that, right? So I think for everybody, it's different, right? So I don't know how old your kids are. Are they little ones? Oh, your mic.
they're all under 9.
Oh, so they're real little. Yeah.
Yes,
So they don't really get affected by, like, I wouldn't think, like, I don't think that you would let them experience the pain and anguish of you going through that process, but rather you would let them experience the benefits, like that they would,
absolutely.
the
Yes,
benefits of it. Right.
yes.
Right.
And
Yeah.
uh, um, there's beautiful things that happen when you're doing shadow work. Yes, there's a lot of suffering, and yes, it's going to be painful, but there's a lot of beautiful things that happens when you're doing it. And
Yeah.
one of these things is intuition,
Yeah. Mm,
gut intelligence, emotional intelligence, and these things are invaluable.
yeah.
This is a must for every being who care enough to do the work.
Yeah.
And
Did
the
you
only
know
thing that prevent people from doing it is ignorance
Yeah.
or the lack of will.
That's a good one too. Did you notice your intuitive nature expanded? Like, did you start listening
Er,
more
oh
to
yes,
about that a little bit?
yes. This is why I told you earlier, the self introspection work and then nonverbal communication. There's are all in addition to my empathy and intuition.
Yeah.
The difference between before I do the shadow work and it's now I have boundaries.
Yeah.
I have a boundaries because it's self-respect. I don't have to go through something that it's bad for me. I don't
Yeah.
have to try to have the validation and the acceptation from other people. I gave it to me, to myself, my
Nice.
own validation, my own empathy, and things like that. So I can do the empathy on myself. How do I feel? Does can Is it really necessary? Is it good? Is it good? Is it necessary? If one of these questions is the end of this answer is no, then you don't do it anymore. It's simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about it's self-reliance, self-respect, and knowing thyself. Know thyself, and you'll know the secret of the universe.
Yeah. Did you use dreams at all to help you? Like, were your dreams more powerful during, like, when you first started doing shadow work? And do you use them as a guiding tool for your shadow work?
Um, I had some really vivid dream in my life.
Mm,
Um, Scary.
yeah.
Live. I mean, I don't remember my dreams um, that much, for to be honest. And but sometimes I can remember some part of them, and then yes, dreams are all upside down, and it's crazy sometimes, you know. Um, but I can know how I feel in
Hmm.
my active life. I can know by my dream, but
Yeah.
I can the best way of doing it, it's self introspection and auto introspection.
Yeah.
It's how do I feel, how what am I tolerating or not tolerating. This is always about boundaries and self respect. So
Yeah.
I mean, I've made crazy realistic dream in my life. I was traumatized by them. I can remember them perfectly. It,
Yeah.
it it was like I was there. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. Well, you could have been. I mean, your
Sure,
soul could have, yeah, absolutely.
sure.
Because we have unconscious ways of dealing with our inner pain as well, like kind of like a self-protection device built into us that wants us to heal. And I think that's why shadow work is so important too, because I think, on a spiritual level, we want to all heal. Nobody wants to, I don't believe, stay in that state of disarray and just, in that monkey brain state all the
Yeah,
time where you're in fight or flight through life.
yeah,
So that's another reason why I think shadow work is so good, because, it kind of removes you out of that state of mind into a more peaceful narrative that you can hopefully live the rest of your life in peace and joy.
yeah.
What's next for you on your spiritual journey? Like, where are you at right now? And do you have
Yeah.
anything, like, is it a Kundalini awakening? Like, what do you have hopes and dreams for moving forward spiritually?
Spiritually, I mean, sure, I want to grow up as a spiritually free being, um, for sure. But I have to be bold realist about. This is why I do shadow work. By the way, the shadow work and the Libercast is because I want to stay grounded into what is happening in the world around us, and I'm talking about the invisible
Yeah,
and the physical aspect, because there's no separation between them. They're
right.
one and the same. So I'm already doing the best that I can. What I mean by that is I'm helping people. My job, what I'm doing as a job now, is I'm working into a community place, food distribution, and
Oh no,
helping the poor people, and taking things and reselling them for in order to help other people. And we're having a lot of different people with different conditions and things like that, and I'm happy to be there and do it. I don't have a huge wage. I have a modest salary, but I don't care, because I'm doing the right thing. And
yeah,
spiritually, this is where you want to be. You don't want to be in contradiction with what you are inside. So I help myself, and then I help the other people.
nice,
This is
nice.
what I do. and
Yeah,
and spiritually, I would say my goal is to do it publicly. My next step is to take the Libercast one notch higher. This is
mm,
what I want to do. I want to be publicly there and having conversation with people and having my presentation. And this is my spiritual quest, let's say.
so right now, the Libercast, you're not, you don't, do you work with clients one on one to help them through their
No,
shadow? So you hope to do that? Is that something you're hoping to do?
um, on the Libercast, it's not monetized. It's never gonna be monetized. I'm doing it because this is my path. This is my spiritual path. In order to really learn something, we have to teach it. So this is what I'm doing. I'm
Yeah, that's so
teaching.
true.
I'm teaching morality and natural law and the occult us a little bit, but I'm very, very grounded into the 3D realm, because this is where the action is happening. This is
Yeah,
where our understanding and our wisdom is becoming action. This is
yeah,
very important to, if you want to do something, you want to help, do it locally. You
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to,
so true.
you're gonna become a better person by giving, sharing, and
Yes.
listening. This is what we want to do as
Yeah.
spiritual being. Some people will not, they want to uh, go else in the place all alone and grow and die there. This is not what I want to do. I want people to get the benefits of my work, and if they can understand, if they can relate with me, and then I'm gonna be happy with it. I'm doing it because I care.
Yeah, yeah.
How much do you care? This is how much I care. I care
So
with all
you
my
want
soul.
to connect and unify people through your work at the Libercast. Is it in English, French, or both?
It's both. Yeah, so there's the Libercast is there's a Franco section. This is the French section there. I'm putting all them there. If you want to see the stuff in English, you have to scroll down on the past live. There's I think I'm at 140 something like that. So there's a bunch of them. It's just a 3 years project. I start very humbly, very small, and then
Yeah,
I don't want people to see me as a guru. I don't want.
yeah, no, right.
I want to. I'm an average, good man. I want what is best for humanity, for myself, for my children, and for my brothers and sisters. This is what drives me.
That seems like a really noble goal to have. And especially that, it's not monetized and you're doing it like to help your community. And not only are you helping them physically with your food donations and stuff, but you're helping people globally as well. And that's very commendable because, like I said, I think it's so important for people. And I don't believe people should dive in and like just do shadow work every day. But if you could dip your toe into it and
Yes.
just get started, start delving in to some of the deep rooted work that needs to be done. I think that will just grow and grow into greater things for humanity. I mean, don't you think that we're having a spiritual awakening now? You see it all over the internet. So it's not only a place of darkness, but there's a lot of hope and light
Yeah.
that you can find in communities as well, like yours, where people are growing spiritually.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pretending too. I mean, I do not agree with most New Agers outside. I'm not this kind of spiritual researcher. I try to stand into bold realism and confronting people with real life things that happens. Even if, let's say, I'm talking about my own experience, but people can relate to it because we're all humans. And
Oh,
what can we do now? This is where our power is. what
yeah.
what
Abs-
are you doing now to better? If you have this flame inside of you, this is your responsibility as human to do something. Something is bad. Your people are tolerating evil. Stop tolerating it. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be and have indignation. It's okay. It's human. And if we didn't have to feel it, it wouldn't be there. But actually, we're all having this. No, there's no negative emotions. It doesn't exist. If there is emotion, if you can feel it, there's a reason why you are feeling it. It's basic for me. It's very basic. I know this. It's acquired, but for a lot of people, I'm telling you, I would not exaggerate to say 95% of people. We're an handful of people.
mm,
And handful, it's scary, sister. It's very scary when you have the eyes to see, because your neighbor, your family, they're like the agent in the Matrix movie. They're
yeah.
all potential agents.
Oh goodness, yeah.
So we have to be really realist about the choice that we're making into society and how we treat others. You know?
So important. It's so
Yeah.
important. I mean, whether
So,
you believe in a karmic aspect or not, some folks don't believe in karma. Same thing like reincarnation, whatever works for you. But just, having like the laws of nature and morality and living that type of life. I was going to ask you, some parting words of hope, but I think, for folks that want to do spirit work and shadow work, and I think you said it very eloquently at the end, there's a lot of hope for humanity, but we do need to be careful at the same times. Keep your guard up.
Oh yes, I mean, never. That's the thing there. Life is. If you don't take care of life, life will take care of you. And actually, people, if you're doing nothing, you're actually doing something, and this something has consequences. So cause and effect. This is natural law. This is easily accessible. There's a beautiful little book. It sells, I think it's $11 Canadian dollars. You don't hesitate. You get the book, you read it, and then you understand it, and you imbue your life with cause and effect, because this is consequentialism.
And what
everything is consequentialism.
What book are you referring to? The one by Basso, or
the Kybalion?
Oh,
by the Three Initiates. This is the basic there. This is a foundation for natural law.
Maybe you could send me that link and I can post it. Yeah, that would be great for folks. That would be great.
People, they're interested, my link will be there. I'm going to send that to you. Just people, if you want you're curious, you want to know about this, just contact me on Facebook. My address is accessible on YouTube too. So you contact me there, and it's going to be a pleasure to help you in your quest.
Oh, great. Okay. And then if anybody leaves comments in the video below, I'll make sure that they get to you. Any questions, anything like that. But I hope they do visit you at the Libercast. And again, I'll have all the links to where folks can reach out, put your Facebook and everything like that. And
yes,
Fred, this has been an incredibly insightful and deeply enriching conversation, and your wisdom on this topic and the spiritual power you bring to shadow work has provided a lot of clarity and guidance today. And I thank you so much for shedding light on this path, because it is challenging and it's clearly essential for true spiritual growth and integration. So I truly thank you for your time today and your wisdom. And I would love to have you back again. Sure. If you have any other powerful topics that you want to share with folks, don't hesitate to reach out, because we can always schedule another one of these as well.
Yeah, sure. It's going to be my pleasure, sister. No problem. I have plenty of things to talk about.
Oh, brilliant. Just shoot. And we'll schedule it. But thank you again so much. Blessings to you and your beautiful family. And I will be in touch. Thank you so much, Fred.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Bye-bye. Well, that was incredible conversation. He brought so much clarity and light to the topic. And we hope that this discussion has inspired you to explore the hidden aspects of yourself with courage and compassion, as Fred so clearly laid out. And remember that the journey inwards is perhaps the most profound adventure that you can undertake. So thank you again so much, Fred, for sharing this valuable insight and perspective with us today. And thank you all for tuning in. And again, you've been listening to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled on United Public Radio and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, which is 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. Please remember to support the network. Every week we have various topics ranging from anything from ancient history, ufology, paranormal, extraterrestrial theories, conspiracy theories, cryptozoology, you name it, this network will cover it for you what's been called high strangeness these days. Nothing is off limits within this network, and we love to be able to share this with you. So please be sure and support all the other hosts on this network as well. It would mean the world to me and everyone there if you do. Give us a thumbs up and a like. I know it's so trite to say, but it means us. It means everything to us when it comes to algorithm. We want to be able to get this information out there to you. Again, this is not, I mean, even though YouTube is monetized, they don't pay much at all. And that's not what we're here for. We're here to share the message, get this out to you folks. And again, if you have any questions or comments about today's discussion, as you heard Fred say, you can reach out to him. I'll have all the links. This will air Friday, which is June 20th at 3:00. So I will blast it all over social media to make sure you have the link. Thank you again so much. Blessings to each and every one of you, and have a blessed and beautiful rest of the day. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.